Hey guys, I wanted to go today on some of the updates on Egg Warrior since my last video. This deck is now the most popular, best deck in the game at High Legend by far. It's being played everywhere, so there's a lot more data, a lot more people trying out things. There's some things that I think are bad. I think there's some things that are really good, and I think some things are just more stylistic. I think people fret over 29th and 30th cards way too much, where you change a card, and in the current meta you're facing today, you increase your win rate by 2%, and then the meta slightly changes tomorrow, and you're back to the same, or you're worse. So it's a thing of okay. We're getting less and less returns. I think since my last video, which if you've been watching my stream, I've already made this change. The big news is Warmaul Challenger. This card is insane, and everyone's running it. It objectively better improvement on the deck over the old Imprisoned Vile Fiend builds. I originally, my buddy Last Champ, when we were designing this, he was like, "Oh, you gotta do this Warmaul Challenger," and I wasn't liking it. Looks like I was wrong. It's very strong. It's very high performing. It's very tough to deal with it. You play it on an empty board, or kill 1/2 and then you enter Rages and you have a 3/8, and that happens all the time. In the Warrior Mirrors, a lot of times it's the first person to play a Warmaul Challenger in Inner Rage wins. So really strong card, and because of that, we're not running Imprisoned Vile Fiends anymore. I think one of the reasons is this is kind of does the same thing that Imprisoned Vile Fiend does. It's a rush minion effectively, even though it's not actually a rush minion. Takes down stuff. So it serves a very similar purpose. So we do not need to run that card anymore. So that card has become worse because of that. So this is the list I've been currently running. The other big update is Grommash. Grommash has been performing very well. It's incredibly good against Priest. You can do it on 9 with a Risky Skipper. You can do it just in Inner Rage for 12. It's a very strong performance, especially against Priest, which because of Warrior, it's one of the strong Warrior counters, has jumped in popularity. It's weird to see. I've never seen so much Priest at High Legend and then not as much at Low Legend. It seems the opposite of what you would expect. Usually you see lots of Priest at the low ranks. You get up to the high ranks, Priest disappears. Now it feels like it's the opposite. Lots of people are playing Priest. So it's yeah. But I think so. I don't know if you guys read the Vicious Syndicate report. Let's go take a look. They talk about Warrior. They say one of the what does he say? One of the they talk about a sort of different build that runs Injured Tolvers in this. So one of the things is Rogue is rising and Demon Hunter is falling. So Injured Tolvers have become a lot better. And normal, but I'm still on the page that there's still a 30th card. But I think Vicious Syndicate runs a list that runs. They're thinking 2 Injured Tolvers, Grommash. And I think, I think if you're sort of a player, I think one of the big advantages of this, and people sort of will talk this down, of their list is reducing complexity. So, you have less, they're not running Terran as well. And I'll kind of go to my current list that I'm running, but they're not running Terran. So you have less complexity in your decisions of, okay, do I Inner Rage this egg, or Injured Tolvers are a little bit easier to play than some of these eggs. But that being said, I still am a big fan of the eggs. I think, but I think one of the reason Terran has been hurting. I looked at my own drawn win rate. Terran is often the lowest drawn win rate card in the deck. I remember when I first started playing the deck. When I first started playing the deck, I I remember playing Terran like 10 games in a row and it not getting once get silenced. Now it feels like you play against a rogue, they sap it. You're playing against a priest, they steal it, and you always have to worry about these plays, so you have to play around it. And so it gets to the point where we're like, we're just better off not running Terran. That being said, I still think Terran's a very strong card, and I think it's going to be a lot more used in open deckless tournaments. So in an open deckless tournament, you have two big advantages. One, you can ban something. So let's say I'm banning Rogue. Bringing Terran all of a sudden becomes a great idea because we can't sap. We can't get it sapped, which makes it a lot stronger. And the fact that we kind of also, because it's open deckless, we know what our opponent's running. So we know, oh, we're playing a Res Priest, but they're not running Shadow Madness. Terran is really good. Versus, oh, we're playing a Gala Priest and they're running 2 Shadow Madnesses. We can probably never play Terran safely. Like, if you know that, but problem is right now I'm playing on ladder. It's turn 3. I play my Terran. I don't know, or turn 4. I don't know if they're running double Shadow Madness. I don't know if they're running 0, and that makes my decisions very tough. Where in a open deckless tournament, I can know that and I can adjust my actions accordingly. And that's something that's so maybe later on if the meta becomes stale, but right now there's just Terran's a card like Cube where except you're destroying your whole board. So in a meta with very little amounts of silence, it's very strong. And another subtle reason that Terran can be bad is a lot of times. So Terran can be really good on turns 4 through 5, and one of the best plays then. But as you or even turn 3 through 5, I'd say. But as you get later in the game, often you're doing a risky skipper play. You clear some stuff and you play Terran. The thing is, most of those spots you could just do a battle rage and draw a whole new hand of cards, and that would be good enough. Also, a lot of times, when I was doing Terran, you put a bunch of stuff in, and you could have just like had a board and killed them. And I find it's very easy to make mistakes with Terran. It's definitely a skill testing card, but remember, skill testing cards aren't necessarily, if I play Terran perfectly, maybe I'm slightly better than other cards. Where realistically, I'm not going to play perfect. I might be better off realistically not having it. So I'm like I've said, long term, I say Terran is definitely not a cut, but I think meta dependent. I could see it being put in. I could see it being cut for certain tournament lineups. Like if you're not banning Priest and you're not banning Rogue, you definitely want to cut Terran. If you're banning Priest or Rogue, and you might not be running Grommash. That gives you flexibility in a tournament lineup to do things with it that you normally wouldn't. So I think that's a good thing. So yeah. Anyways, so let's so I'm gonna show you guys the list I'm running. And I've had a lot of success with this list. I just hit EU Legend with a 72% win rate, and it's kind of a compromise between values. I'm running 1 Korkin Elite and 1 Injured Tolver. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of the Injured Tolvers, but I think one of the things that people forget is I don't like having only 4 2-drops. I think people will look at cards independently and say, okay, Injured Tolver, might not be performing as well as some of these other things. But you have to remember, you need to do risky skipper plays. And I find often, having a lot of times I'm like, if I don't draw a 2-drop this turn, I'm not gonna be able to clear my opponent's board and I'm gonna lose. So having a 2-drop to just use with risky skipper can often be between the difference between losing and winning. So I think I still like having that additional 2-drop. And I think I like the 1 of Korkin Elite. I think I'd be interested if people in the future consider running 0 Korkin Elites and only Grom. I think Korkin Elite is a lower performer, but it's something I'm just thinking about that I don't really have strong enough evidence to say yet. And it's still Korkin Elite's very good as a finisher with Inner Rage. So the vicious list, I think especially if you're facing maybe like you're at top 5,000 legend. I could see this list lowers complexity, which can be good or bad depending on what your goals are. But I think I could totally see people having better success with this list than my list. But that being said, I think the higher you go, I think eggs are incredibly strong, and like your opponent, it's a lot easier for your opponent to say, okay, I'm going to kill this Injured Tolver. Where if you're looking, eggs are really become mind games with your opponent, because it's the thing of like, if I have Enraged Rampage or Enraged Bloodsworn, I'm gonna wreck you. Where if I don't, and then my opponent says, okay, am I gonna kill off the egg and the 3/4? There's a lot of really tough decisions you can put to a thinking opponent with eggs that you just can't do with Injured Tolvers. So I'm thinking, I still think so. Right now, I feel like this is the most well-rounded. Like I said, in a tournament list, I would probably either bring something more polarizing, knowing what I'm going to ban. So like I said, maybe you bring two Cork and Leeds, maybe you bring Terran. It depends on what you think you're going to. But I feel this is one of the most well-rounded lists, and if you actually, I was looking, and this is kind of like why I say don't fret over these little 29th and 30th cards, because people come asking, oh, is Terran no longer good? Is Grom the best? Blah, blah, blah. And these are 29th and 30th cards, I think. Grom, I'm not sure it's a 29th, 30th card, but if you look at the win rates, you can see here, so here's the version, or let's see, where's the version? Here's the version I've been running. It's with a decent sample size. These are all very low sample, 60% win rate. Here's the more standard ground version, 59, but more sample size. They're very close. You can't tell this 1% based off this, but it's just a thing of, don't fret. If you have like a version, I like the Injured Tolvers. That being said, the one thing I do think bombs are just objectively worse. The bomb package, maybe in a tournament lineup. I know in the Vicious Syndicate report they agree with me there, and I've been kind of crapping on the the bomb package and with Blastmaster Boom, and I'm glad to see that the data agrees with me there. So like I said, if you like bombs, you can do bombs. But I think the best versions are either the eggs or you do the Injured Tolver version. Like I said, the big advantage of reducing complexity. And yeah, so I'm going to show you guys some games now of me playing my most recent version. So enjoy and hope you like them. Embrace the chaos. What if I keep a really greedy keep here? Keep all these. I'm going to do it. Because this is like basically I'm saying I'm going to hero power for the first 8 turns, but I hope they don't have like, this is the problem when they have the 1-drop though. Oh, Ankar is fantastic here. Honestly, guys, I understand like the desire to constantly change the decks. This version is fine. There are other versions that are fine too. They all have pluses and negatives. And given a current meta, honestly, keep things. Yeah. So I mean, this and this is really good. On coin, we tend to be farther behind, so having this and this is good. And because we have this and this is good. So it's like, I almost never keep Battle Rage, but Bomb Girl is so good. I'd probably just tempoing Bomb Girl here. I will not be denied. That's actually unfortunate because now it's just kind of awkward for them. Their turn 4 is an awkward one. Okay, I mean this on the surface is bad, but they just soak 4 mana, 3 mana into dealing that. So oh, that's an unfortunate hit. What if we go Skipper here? Ooh, more skippers. So I like playing these small minions because it's kind of like, are they gonna, this is a spot where are they gonna use all their weapon hits to kill a bunch of 1/2s? No. And now we can do this play. Skippers for days. It's a great overdraw. I think we go. I kind of like going Armor Smith into Bloodsworn here. It just seems good. Like right now, we just need to not die, and it gives us a ton of armor here.
Your flaws are your strength.
I could play another skipper here, but like we could have played like a skipper there, and then I don't know, and then done the duplication. Maybe that would have been better. I don't know. All right, now they have to soak all this damage into our smiths. So yeah. I think they're not even killing this. Okay. We've had this all this time. Wonder if we can
must burn them all.
I could go Rampage, but okay, I'm thinking like Altruist is their only out here. So I think we put Wrangler down. And we put Egg. We could do actually just do Wrangler Rampage Hero Power here. We also could go Wrangler Livewire. Actually, I think that's the play. We'll save the Rampage. So we could get a Taunt Lackey here, which would be real nice. This is just kind of awkward for them. They have plays here, but they're just awkward. Yep. They're going for it. Dang. Okay. How many of these can they dodge? Okay. Is that lethal? Risky Corkin Rampage is lethal here. Be sweet, like, you know, to because but I did go last time I was in Brazil, I did go boogie boarding. And actually I'm gonna keep this whole hand. I went boogie boarding last time I went surfing. Or last time I was in Brazil. I was in what's it called? I was in Leblon, which is right near Ipanema. And they had like these giant waves. And I get like, you know, like they're really scary. And I get on one of the waves, and ooh. I get on one of the waves. I get ready to go on one of the waves. I'm like kind of this. I'm kind of chickening out, and I get up, and it's all of a sudden I'm like on the top, to, like, you know, shoot out. which is normally like something you can do in the States that's really fun. And I'm like 13 feet up. And I'm like, holy crap! It's like a little above my ceiling, all the way to the ground. I'm like seeing the distance. And I'm like, holy crap! And I panic, and I just kind of this, and I just get like plunged into the ground, and like my the thing on my on my wrist rips off, and my boogie board goes like all the way to the beach, which is like 100 meters away. But it's like just instantly goes to the beach because there's so much force, and I'm like all like bruised up, and then I didn't boogie board anymore after that. But yeah, I'm talking about in Brazil in Leblon. This happened in Leblon. But I was staying there.
I will not be denied.
Someone's gotta lead the charge. I challenge you to Makbara!
Yeah. Try legend file. Okay, here we go. We got this, I think. Hopefully. I probably should have just done Livewire Lance there. But it'll be 1, 2. It'll be 1, 2, 3. Okay, yes, free. We can coin out the Bloodsworn.
Show you who's boss! Honor made to fit.
Drink your blood. Eat your blood.
Your flaws are your strength.
Oof. I mean, this is desperation for them, right?
I will not be denied.
Someone's gotta lead the charge. Punish!
Oh, nice. Lost Ysira. Ysira is like the only way they win this matchup.
I will not be denied.
We could just get like Brawl here.
On wings of evil. Mystic now.
Midnight's witch strike.
It's already qual. It's been an evening bullying other pros. it's true, Tantor. Like I don't even need to, but it's just like, oh, this is okay. They're conceding. This is over.
I concede.
The eggs are specifically put there to lower the win rate.
Come, embrace the chaos.
Ooh. I really want, like, part of me wants to keep Rampage, but I think we look for Corsair catches. Yeah, I know, right? you know how strong Demon Hunter is when they're like, yeah, I think we're gonna cut Skull. Like, I just don't think it works in this deck. You know, the nourish, but better, like the but with discount.
My blood be born again.
Oh, this is awkward. This hand is bad, but we can win this. Take a thorn.
I will not be denied.
Yeah, I mean, Spectral Sight, like, even though it's just really a 1 mana cheaper Arcane Intellect for the most part. So, like, don't get me wrong, it's good, but, you know, some decks don't need, you know, you already have 2 draw 3 cards, and you have the 1/2 that draws you a card. Yeah, it's crazy.
I will not be denied.
If we get a Battle Rage here, I mean, Corsair Catcher, Battle Rage are both really good. Ah! They're stealing my cards. This is awkward. I don't even know what I don't want to use Cork and Elite here. Maybe we just pass. Good Legend on EU as rank 1. That's funny. I mean, if you look at it that way, but you could look at the real way to look at it is you won a game, and then between that game, a bunch of people passed you. Man, yeah, that's kind of funny though. The top 10 or 15 cards with the highest win rate in the game. Are Demon Hunters? Yeah, I mean, and I think people like the meta is like on one end is adjusting the Demon Hunter, but Demon Hunter pretty much what they call like crowds out any other strategies. So by that I mean like, oh, that's a great top deck. Other strategies that basically don't. Right, we need to not die.
I will not be denied.
So yeah, it's just like any other tempo, like, because thing is like Paladin tries to win through like, you know, old-fashioned tempo decks that don't have something incredibly broken, with like, you know, just will get demolished. You know, ooh, this is bad. Ooh, this is real bad. Oh my god, that is a big boy. That boy. One.
I'll show you who's boss. Someone's got to lead the charge.
Drink your blood. Eat your blood.
Your flaws are your
Time
strength.
to feast. I will not be denied.
8-9 versus Demon Hunter, yeah. I must be the only one with negative win rate. I mean, by very soft spot, by very just of randomness, there will be lots of warriors that have negative win rates. You don't have enough. So, you know, if you have a large sample size, it probably means you're making misplays. But like, let's say you have 20 games, let's say you play 20 games against Demon Hunter, and let's say realistically you like actually have a 55% win rate. There's going to be a range around like, you know, because some games you'll lose more, and some 20 like game session you lose less. It's like it's a statistical concept. So basically what I'm saying is, don't worry if you're losing a little bit. Ooh, can we just go for like the YOLO here? I think we do.
Burn them all.
I think we do hit this. We can do a crap ton of damage to him here. And let's see if we set up for Plague of Death. So we can do 12 here. Yeah. We can do 18.
A conundrum. I will not be denied. With haste.
Someone's
I
gotta
will
lead the
not
charge.
be denied.
Your flaws are your strength. Someone's gotta lead the charge.
So I'm putting them on the spot here. If they go Plague of Death, we have lethal. So I'm kind of saying like tempting them to play Plague of Death here. Okay, they can't do Plague of Death now. So they need like a really efficient clear here. Yeah, that's a horrible generation. Let's see what they got. Oh. We got him here? At 7. Oh, we don't have him here, I think. Oh, exact lethal. Holy crap, guys. This is great.
Burn to play. I'll show you who's boss.
Didn't even draw Battle Ridge. Hmm.